The WWDC 2025 is under 2 months away. It promises some exciting changes and additions, one of which is the official announcement of iOS 19. Many of us like to anticipate potential features that major software updates might bring to our devices. In this video, we're going to go over what we might know about iOS 19 at this stage. When it comes to iOS 19, it looks like it could bring the biggest design overhaul since iOS 7. But what exactly does that mean? Well, iOS 19 is expected to bring about significant design changes. These changes might cover menus, apps, icons, and system buttons, so there will likely be an OS-wide design refresh.
And obviously, this isn't just for the sake of aesthetics. Apple's goal seems to be creating a more unified cross-platform experience, making transitions between devices like the iPhone and iPad feel smoother and more seamless. This new design language seems to be building on the changes we saw in iOS 18, like the updated control center. But Apple appears to be going even further this time, drawing inspiration from visionOS, which is the operating system of the Vision Pro. So what could this inspiration translate into? Well, we can probably expect translucency, soft edges, and fading UI elements that feel lighter and more dynamic. Another interesting addition that seems to be coming with iOS 19 is the introduction of glass-like visual effects, especially in areas like the lock screen. So it has been suggested that elements like the camera and flashlight buttons could adopt a glassy, semi-transparent look, with subtle reflections that shift depending on how you tilt your iPhone. We're also expecting updates to navigation bars and system buttons, which could get softer, rounder edges that blend in better with the background content. This might apply to things like haptic touch menus, control center toggles, and even permission prompts, which helps in creating a more immersive and less boxy visual style. As well as this, leaker John Prosser from the YouTube channel Front Page Tech suggests that Apple is also tweaking app icons. The icons might become rounder, although it's uncertain if that means that they will be completely circular or whether they will have a shape that is between a circle and the current squircle shape. So what do we learn from this? Well, it seems like iOS 19 is about more than just refining the design. If the information we discussed so far ends up being true, we might be looking at a version of iOS that feels fresh, modern, and more cohesive across Apple's entire ecosystem.
Alongside a system-wide design refresh, iOS 19 is also expected to bring a major overhaul to system apps, and so this could end up being one of the most noticeable changes in day-to-day use.
These apps will likely adopt a new look that is very much inspired by visionOS. That means that we might see more glassy floating elements, with interfaces that feel lighter, more translucent, and more three-dimensional. Think rounded corners, blurred backgrounds, and layered menus that sort of appear to hover above your screen. Now, there seems to be some disagreement about what exactly that will look like. John Prosser recently shared some images that are supposed to represent iOS 19's new design style, but journalist Mark Gurman suggested that those images are outdated and don't reflect the final version of what Apple's working on. But even though we may not have a concrete image just yet, we do have a general idea of the direction things are heading. A prominent example of this new app design is the Camera app. It has been suggested that the Camera app will feature a more immersive layout, with a larger preview area for your photo or video, and translucent pop-out menus for switching between modes. We're also seeing clues of these design changes in some of Apple's most recent apps, like Invites and Apple Sports, which already embrace some of these new design ideas. Both apps feature translucent interface elements, expanding buttons, and an emphasis on content. It's pretty much about making the experience feel more fluid and natural while still being intuitive to use. If iOS 19 rolls this out across more system apps, like Messages, Mail, Safari, or Settings, it could contribute towards modernizing the iOS experience. And while these changes might feel subtle at first, they'll likely add up to an operating system that feels cleaner, more immersive, and more visually unified. So whether you're checking your calendar or writing an email, if this information ends up being true, you can probably expect iOS apps to feel more like they're part of a shared design language, bringing the Apple ecosystem closer together.
Now let's talk about Apple Intelligence. While Apple hasn't officially confirmed anything just yet, Mark Gurman suggests that iOS 19 will likely expand Apple Intelligence even further, building on the features that were first introduced in iOS 18.
So what could that actually look like? Well, the details are still pretty limited, but the expectation is that Apple will extend the reach of its AI-powered features across more apps and areas of the operating system. In iOS 18, we saw the beginnings of Apple's move in the AI space. So that included features like writing tools and summarization across notifications thanks to priority notifications, as well as in the Mail app. We previously heard information hinting at Apple Music having Apple Intelligence-based features, including playlist generation, but that has not yet happened. But who knows? It's possible that we could see such features in iOS 19. So the bottom line when it comes to Apple Intelligence is this. While we don't know the full extent of Apple Intelligence in iOS 19 yet, the expectation is clear. Apple is trying to make iPhones smarter and more helpful, with AI that works quietly in the background to save you time and keep you focused.
Now, Siri is the area that I'm personally most excited to talk about because of what Apple seems to have in store for it in iOS 19. If you've been following Apple's journey in the AI space, you'll know that a number of Apple Intelligence features that were initially expected to release with iOS 18 were delayed, and some of those delays were linked to Siri. But now, it seems like iOS 19 might finally make those features a reality.
There are three major areas of improvement supposedly coming to Siri. The first one is personal context. This is a big one. Siri will gain the ability to keep track of things like your emails, messages, photos, and files. Apple's goal here is to enable Siri to better understand users, and that involves understanding what users are sent, what they're working on, and the tasks that they might need help with. This is so Siri can assist in a way that is personalized and relevant. The second area is on-screen awareness. This means that Siri will be able to see what's happening on your display and perform actions involving the information being displayed on your screen. For example, if you're looking at a photo or a video, you could simply say, "Hey Siri, send this to Jamie," and it'll know exactly what you mean. So there would be no need to explain or manually attach anything. Now, if this ends up being true, it would be a small step towards a more fluid, contextual virtual assistant. Third, it's thought that Siri will have greater app integration. This would probably be the most significant upgrade of the bunch. Siri might soon be able to interact more deeply within and across apps, meaning it won't just answer questions or set reminders. It might actually help you edit photos and move files between apps, just to name a few. With these additions, Siri might become more than a virtual assistant, since it would become more efficient and more capable of contributing to user productivity. But it doesn't end there apparently. Apple is also reportedly working on a brand new AI-powered version of Siri, built using large language models or LLMs, which is the same kind of technology that powers ChatGPT and other AI chatbots like Google Gemini. You may remember me covering this in one of my earlier videos, in which I explored the evolution of Siri. Make sure to check it out if you haven't already. LLM integration would allow Siri to hold longer and more natural conversations, provide deeper and more informative answers, and respond to follow-up questions with actual understanding of context. But it's not just about intelligence. It's also about sounding human. Apple is said to be working on giving Siri a more natural human voice that is at the same level or maybe even better than ChatGPT's advanced voice mode. The aim here is for Siri to sound less like a robot and more like a helpful and friendly assistant that actually understands what the user is asking, and subsequently responds with clarity and warmth. The best part is that Apple is planning to bring this enhanced Siri experience to the entire ecosystem. So it doesn't matter if you're on an iPhone, iPad or Mac, you'll have access to the same improved Siri.
Now, which iPhones will be compatible with iOS 19? It seems like iOS 19 will not be available for the iPhone XR, the iPhone XS, or the iPhone XS Max. So if you have one of those phones, iOS 18 will likely be its last major iOS update. On the other hand, iOS 19 is expected to run on all other iPhones that support iOS 18. So that's the iPhone SE 2nd generation or later, and every iPhone from the iPhone 11 onwards.
But what do you think about iOS 19 so far? Does the information we know about it so far make you more excited for it? Or does iOS 19 feel like an underwhelming software update? I'm very curious to hear your thoughts, so feel free to let me know in the comments.
Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please like, share and subscribe. And feel free to let me know in the comments if there is anything tech you're interested in and want me to make a video about. In the next video, we're going to examine the potential repercussions of the latest US tariffs on the American tech sector. Make sure to tune in to that because it's going to be very interesting. Also, please consider supporting me by donating to my channel through buymeacoffee.com. I would really appreciate any support as I continue to bring fun and interesting content like this. Only if you can, of course. Link down below. This was the Wizard of Tech, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.